What's up everybody, this is Vando and you're watching Deadlock School, a channel dedicated to helping you master the game of Deadlock. In today's video, we're going to take a comprehensive look at Shiv and how to fight against him. So this is a problem character that people have been talking about in the Discord, in the Reddit. Just everybody's having a hard time fighting Shiv. This is going off of the new patch that released on October 24th, and Shiv did just take a couple nerfs, so he's probably going to be a little bit easier to deal with. But in my opinion, the skills that make him strong is his slice and dice, his dash, and his bloodletting did not really get changed that much. So a little bit of a nerf to bloodletting, probably not enough to make that big of a difference. I still think Shiv is going to be terrorizing games, and I wanted to make a video to help you learn some effective techniques of how to fight against him and how to itemize against him. Alright, so I want to start out by talking about Shiv's abilities, and first I want to look at the rage mechanic. So you see Shiv has a rage bar right above his skills. It's going to fill up anytime you do damage to an enemy hero or trooper. So I'll just do a little bit of damage to Abrams here. You'll see it's going to fill up pretty slow. And if I do a headshot, it's going to go a little bit faster. Shiv also has a mechanic where he can use his right click to shoot 2 gunshots at the same time. And then you can also fill it up with melees and heavy melees. Okay, and then you'll see when it fills up all the way, the crystal hanging from Shiv's belt is going to start glowing, and that's how you know Shiv is enraged. So if you see the glowing crystal, that's when you want to kind of stand back away from Shiv. Okay, and then once he's got the rage bar, he has a 9-second buffer before the bar starts to decay. So this was 10 seconds up until the patch that came out this week. Now it's been nerfed down to 9 seconds, and then once that kicks in, the rage bar is going to start to fall off unless he continues to do damage to another hero or to a trooper, which also just got nerfed by 50%. Alright, so the first ability to look at for Shiv is going to be Serrated Knives. This is on his 1. It's going to throw a knife that does 35 impact damage and 5 damage per second bleed over 5 seconds. It's also going to apply 35% movement speed slow. And then Shiv's rage mechanic, whenever he's got full rage, the knife is also going to ricochet into another enemy. So if Shiv has full rage, he can hit 2 people with a single knife. This ability comes with 2 charges. The first upgrade is going to add an additional charge. The second upgrade is going to add 2 seconds to the bleed duration, so he'll get 2 more ticks of bleed. And then the last upgrade is going to add 40 flat damage to the impact and 5 more damage bleed per second. The scaling on his Serrated Knives is not terribly good for Spirit. He does get some scaling, it's not very good. But this ability is really good because you'll see you can stack the knives up, and that's going to increase his rage generation. So this is typically how Shiv is going to start an engagement with you, is he's going to try to hit you with a couple knives to start stacking his rage. And then he only needs to get you, so you'll see one heavy melee and 1 headshot, and now he's full rage. So this ability did recently get nerfed this week. So the impact is kind of smaller. So you have to be a little bit more precise with the knife now than you did in the last patch. All right, the next upgrade for Shiv here on his 2 is called Slice and Dice. This is going to do a dash forward, damaging any enemy along the path. It's going to do 105 impact damage that scales 1.3x with Spirit, so he gets some pretty good scaling on this. It's going to have a 12-meter range. And then the rage mechanic for this one is when Shiv is full rage, an echo will follow behind him and double the damage. First upgrade on this is going to reduce the cooldown by 4 seconds. Second upgrade is going to add 75 damage to the impact. And the last upgrade is, and this is the big one, it's going to reduce the cooldown by 2 seconds for every enemy hero that gets hit, or 1 second for non-heroes. So he can actually dash through troopers and reduce the cooldown on this. And then the max he can reduce it is -6 seconds per dash. So I'm going to show you why this ability is so powerful, and this is why I think Shiv is still going to be kind of a problem. This ability did not really take any nerfs. So let me just get my rage bar filled up. And then a side note on that, the rage bar, it takes 4 heavy melees now to fill up the rage bar instead of 3. And then one more thing I want to show you is, I don't know if you know this about the training area, but you can see these markers. These are meter markers. So I've got Abrams standing on the 10 meter. I'm going to dash from here, and then you'll see my echo is going to come through behind him. And that's going to double the damage, and it's also going to double the reduction on the cooldown. So if I dash through him here, my echo hits him as well. that drops the cooldown to 8 seconds. So this is a very powerful ability. Most Shivs are going to max this out first. This is what you want to look out for. Shiv's going to come, he's going to try to slice and dice you, and then he's going to immediately turn around for a heavy melee. All right, that's the move that Shiv is going to look to do on you. All right, so Shiv's third ability on his 3 is called Bloodletting. Bloodletting is going to take 22% of all incoming damage and defer that into a damage over time that's going to tick over the next 13 seconds. So whenever you nuke Shiv, some of that damage is going to get spread out over time. And this is why Shiv is so tanky, because he doesn't take all the damage all at once. On the activate there, it's going to immediately clear 40% of the damage in that deferred pool. And then his rage mechanic for this one is going to, when he does full rage, it's going to increase that deferral amount by 15%. The cooldown on the active here is 50 seconds, and this one actually just recently got rearranged, kind of how the power budget works in this skill. So originally, the cooldown was much lower on the active. The incoming deferred damage was 30%, and the spread duration there was 10 seconds. Okay, so they've kind of rearranged how this works. So now his first upgrade is going to add 8% deferral amount. So that's going to take it to where it was before the nerf. So same amount of deferred damage after he upgrades one skill. And the nerf here, the overall nerf, is his deferred duration is going to stay at 13 seconds. So that's a buff at the original, at the first level, but it's a nerf overall because it used to upgrade all the way to 15 seconds. Okay, and then the second upgrade is going to reduce the cooldown on the active by 25 seconds. This is an overall nerf, so he's going to be able to use the active every 25 seconds. It used to be around 16 seconds. So it's a little bit of a nerf there as well. And then the last upgrade remains unchanged. This is going to add 25% to how much he can clear when he uses the active. So I still think Shiv is going to be a problem because this skill is pretty much going to remain unchanged. Okay, so he can't cast it as often, which is kind of a negative there. But the real kicker on this skill was when he has full rage, he can defer 45% of the incoming damage. It is a little bit of a nerf that it's going to be applied over 13 seconds instead of 15, but I don't think that's enough to really feel it in practice. So I think Shiv is still going to be a menace. He's still going to defer almost half of the incoming damage whenever he has full rage. Okay, and then Shiv's last ability on his 4, his ultimate here is called Killing Blow. Killing Blow is going to do an execute. So whenever somebody is below 20% health, then Shiv can leap onto them and immediately kill them. Then the rage active for this, it doesn't necessarily buff the skill. It's just whenever he's max rage, he's also going to get a flat 15% damage buff. The first upgrade here is going to do another rage upgrade. So it's going to give him 2 meters per second when he's at full rage move speed. Second upgrade there is going to add 8% to the health threshold and 10% to the damage. So now he can execute at 28% health, and then he's going to get a flat 25% damage upgrade. And then the last upgrade here is going to reset on kill. So whenever you finish somebody with a killing blow, it's going to reset the cooldown and he can cast it again. So this ability remains largely unchanged in the nerf except for the range. So it got dropped from 20 to 13 meters. That is probably going to make a pretty big difference in team fights with Shiv. So he can't just execute you from across the map anymore. Still going to remain a very powerful ability though. All right, so now we've looked at Shiv's abilities. Now I want to take a look at a popular Shiv build that you're most likely to see in your game. And we're going to look at average Jonas melee Shiv. So this is what most Shivs are really playing right now. They're playing this melee Shiv build. So I want to kind of look at the items so you can get an idea of what Shiv's game plan is going to look like here. And you can see that I've already bought through the first handful of items. You can just go from left to right with this build order. And I stopped at Colossus. So this is the first luxury 6,200 soul item. So I bought all the way up to before it starts getting into these super late game items. So we'll take a look at the core of the build here. It's going to start out with restorative shot. This actually just got nerfed just a smidge. I don't think it's going to make much difference though. This is just to help him laning. Monster rounds also just got nerfed a little bit. It's going to reduce the resistance against NPCs. Still not that big a deal. Melee charge, this is the first major item that's a part of this build. This one got the weapons damage dropped a little bit and the bonus health got dropped a little bit. But the big kicker on this item is the melee distance. This is going to increase the heavy melee distance by 40%. So when Shiv has this item, he can dash through you and still turn around and hit you with a heavy melee, and it won't be, too far out of range. So that's really the, what's so important to him. The bonus health, the bonus damage being nerfed just a smidge. He might feel that a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be major. Next item here is Berserker. Berserker is going to ramp Shiv's up damage as he takes damage. So, if Shiv's in the middle of a big fight and a lot of people are focusing him, his damage is going to keep going up. He's got Enduring Speed. Next one here is Healbane. This one is a really important item to Shiv's build. So this is going to do the healing reduction, but the main thing Shiv builds this for is the heal on kill. So you can see that he's going to receive 438 health anytime he kills a hero. So Shiv wants to combo this with his execute there. So when he lands a killing blow, he's going to get almost 500 health back. So that's kind of part of his big game plan there. And then the most important item in the entire build here is Life Strike. So Life Strike is actually going to build out of melee lifesteal. So let's pull that one up first. This is going to give some melee damage, some bonus health, and it's going to heal him for 25% of the melee and an additional 112. Okay. And then when you upgrade this into Life Strike, it's going to pump up all the numbers. So a little bit more damage, a little bit more health. It's going to add some bullet resist. He's going to do 81% of the melee and then an additional 138 health back. And then most importantly, this is going to add a 60% movement slow. So with Life Strike, if Shiv punches you, you are barely going to be able to move. So very important to keep an eye out for that. You got to learn how to punch parry against Shiv. Okay, he's got Healing Booster. This is just going to ramp up all his healing effects. He's got Spirit Strike. This is another item that's going to buff his melee attacks. So you can see he's going to do a little bit extra melee damage. He gets a Spirit Shield, and then it's going to do a little bit of a Spirit Nuke whenever he attacks, and that scales with Spirit damage. It's also going to reduce additional Spirit Resist by 12%. Next item here is Mystic Reach. That's going to increase the range on his daggers and on his dash. And then he's going to get Torment Pulse. Torment Pulse helps him farm, but this is also going to help him keep his rage up. So every time Torment Pulse ticks, it's going to add a little bit to his rage bar. And then the last one in the spirit category here is Bullet Resist Shredder. This is going to give 100 bonus health. It's going to add some melee resist, which is new. So that's a new thing they added to a bunch of items is melee resist. And then it's going to reduce bullet health by 12% anytime he does spirit damage. So this is part of Shiv's plan is to hit you with a dagger, and then that's going to tick spirit damage bleed. That's going to apply the bullet resist, and it's going to reapply every time that bullet or every time that dagger ticks on you. Okay, so getting into the flex items here, the first one is Leech. This is pretty straightforward. This is just going to add a bunch of lifesteal. This item actually just got buffed, amazingly enough, with 12% cooldown reduction. So this item is good. You're probably going to see this in a lot more games. That's a really massive buff for this item. The next item is Point Blank. It just helps him do more damage when he's up close. This is also going to apply a movement slow whenever he hits you with his bullets. Next one is Hunter's Aura. Hunter's Aura is going to reduce your bullet resistance by 9%. It's going to add a 10% fire rate slow, and then it gives 150 bonus health. And then this one has a special ability there. Whenever you're alone, it's going to triple the effect. So it's going to reduce your fire rate by 30%, and it's going to drop your bullet resist by almost 30% as well. So this, in tandem with Bullet Resist Shredder, is going to drop your resistance by 40% if you're fighting Shiv one-on-one and nobody else is around. So very dangerous. And then the last item there is Improved Spirit Armor. Okay, so now we've looked at all of Shiv's abilities. We've looked at the typical kind of items that he's going to be building. So we know his game plan is to apply damage over times so he can stack his rage. He's going to try to reduce our bullet resistance. He's going to look for a full rage slice and dice, and then a turnaround heavy melee that's going to lifesteal for a ton, and then he's going to try to execute. So how do we itemize against Shiv? And what you'll hear everyone say is to build healing reduction. And that is true. That is something that you need against Shiv, but it's a trap to build it early because Shiv does not have any native healing built into his kit. So when you're building the healing reduction items, you're looking to counteract his melee lifesteal, his life strike, and his leech. And he's not going to have life strike and leech until a little bit further into the game. So the first item I feel like that you should always build against Shiv in lane is going to be slowing hex. This is like this secret weapon against Shiv. So slowing hex is going to give you 1 meter per second sprint speed, 5 spirit power. It's going to deal 100 damage spirit nuke that scales with spirit power there. It's going to reduce movement speed by 20% on active. It's got a 3 second duration, a 25 meter cast range, and the kicker on this item is it silences his movement based items and abilities. So if you cast slowing hex on Shiv, he cannot use his slice and dice. Okay, so this item you're going to get a lot of value of using this item against Shiv in lane. It's going to stop him from being able to jump on you. So he's going to throw a couple knives at you. When you see him coming towards you, hit him with the slowing hex, and you won't be able to close the gap with his slice and dice. And it's going to totally, kind of fluster him and mess up his entire game plan. And then the next item I like to transition to after slowing hex is Silence Glyph. Silence Glyph gives 150 spirit shield. It adds another meter per second sprint speed, and it's going to do 150 damage spirit nuke that scales with spirit power. It's got a 3 second duration, 25 meter cast range. Very similar stats there to the slowing hex, and it's going to just completely silence him. So he won't be able to use any abilities. So, and this is what you saw in the introduction clip, is you hit Shiv with the slowing hex. He can't slice and dice. You count to 3, you hit him with the Silence Glyph. That's 6 full seconds where Shiv is not able to use his slice and dice. And that is a lot of time to chunk him down. That's what I recommend starting out. So that is, I know it's expensive, and I know it's going to take up a couple of your spirit item slots here, but I think those are the single 2 most effective items to build against Shiv. Okay, and then the next item to look at here is Metal Skin. Metal Skin gives 125 bonus health, 8 spirit power, 8% fire rate, and the active on this is going to make you immune to bullets and melee attacks. It lasts for 3.5 seconds. So if you cast your slowing hex, you cast your Silence Glyph, it's not enough. He still gets in on you. The time runs out, and he uses his slice and dice. He dashes on you. Immediately pop your Metal Skin. That way, his turnaround melee is not going to hit you. He's going to turn around. It's just going to go ting, and it's not going to do any damage. And then he's also not going to be able to shoot you. So he's going to be right on top of you, and he's not going to be able to damage you for 3.5 more seconds. So this gives you almost 10 full seconds to deal with the Shiv. And if you can't kill Shiv in 10 seconds, then he's either too fed for you to fight, or you just need to use these items to run away instead. So instead of engaging, you can just pop these items and disengage. You don't have to fight the Shiv. If you disengage from the Shiv, that's 1 less kill that he's going to get, and that saves your life. So these 3 items, I think, are the main items you should be looking to build to fight Shiv. Okay, and then the next couple items I want to look at here are going to be the healing reduction. So you can transition into building these a little bit later in the game. The first one is Decay. I think this is the best one to build against him. It is cheap. It's a 1250 item. It's going to give you 7 spirit power. It applies a 3.1% total life bleed damage over time. That's going to last for 10 seconds. And it's also going to apply 50% healing reduction. So this one, it's another active. You cast it on him, 10 seconds of healing reduction, 10 seconds of damage over time. This, I think, is, like I said, the most effective item to build against him for healing reduction, because it just lasts for a long time. It's a point and click. You don't have to hit him with shots to keep it up, like toxic bullets or anything like that. And then you can combo this with Heal Bane. Heal Bane is going to apply an additional 40% healing reduction, but Heal Bane only triggers on spirit damage. So you don't want to buy Heal Bane until you either have Decay or Toxic Bullets first, because those are going to apply the spirit damage that's going to trigger the Heal Bane. Otherwise, your Heal Bane is only going to apply whenever you use a skill on Shiv. And that's probably going to be a little bit unreliable. It does have a 6-second duration, so if say you're Kelvin, you hit him with a grenade, you're going to get some good healing reduction on him. But it's better to have this on your Toxic Bullets or on your Decay, so that it keeps ticking and resetting the timer there. Okay, and then that leads us to Toxic Bullets. This is a good one to buy if you're building a hero that's like a gun-based hero. So if you're playing like Infernus, or if you're playing Haze, or maybe Wraith, then you want to go for Toxic Bullets instead of Decay. Toxic Bullets gives 100 bonus health, and it's going to apply a 5% total life bleed damage over time. That's going to last for 3 seconds, and it's going to reduce the healing by 65%. So this gives you the most healing reduction there. And the healing reduction items, like if you put this one together with Healbane, you're not going to get 100% healing reduction. It's multiplicative. It's going to be somewhere more in the range of like 75%. And then if you apply, Healbane with Decay, that's going to be more like, 70, somewhere between 77 and 75%. Okay, so those are the 3 items that you can build for Heal Cut. Like I said, I typically just build the Decay. If Shiv is a particular problem in my game, I might also build the Healbane. I do want to look at some shout out items here. So these are items that I feel like are either good to build against Shiv or new items that just recently got buffed that you want to put on your radar. So the first one is Fleetfoot. Fleetfoot just helps you run away. So Shiv gets 2 meters per second move speed when he's got full sprint. If you get Fleetfoot, you get 3 meters per second move speed for 4 seconds. So this helps you disengage from the Shiv. It's a cheap alternative. Like I said, one alternative fighting Shiv is just don't fight him. So you can buy Fleetfoot and just run away from him every time you see him. You can also get escalating resilience. So he's looking to reduce your bullet resistance by a ton, between his Hunter's Aura and between his bullet resist shredder. So escalating resilience here, this is going to give you 40% max bullet resist, while you're shooting him. So this is, kind of neutralizes all that negative bullet resistance that he's going to put on you. And then of course you could also buy, the bullet resist, the improved bullet resist green item. I just feel like green items are at more of a premium maybe than bullet items here, weapon items. So I like to go for the escalating resilience. Okay, and then the new items that just recently got buffed that you should know about is number 1, bullet resist shredder. This got a 15% melee resist, so you can build this, and this is really just good for any hero, but you can build this to kind of neutralize Shiv's melee attack. And then also Titanic Magazine, which gives a 25% melee resist. So Titanic Magazine, that's another one that you really want to just only really be building on gun heroes. But I just thought you might want to know, this is going to give you 25% melee resist. And you can combo them together to probably get around 37-38% melee resist. So new items, they're pretty good against Shiv. Once again, you really want to be looking for the slowing hex. This is the secret weapon against Shiv, and then the silence glyph, and then potentially the metal skin. So you're obviously not going to be able to build all these items. This is almost an entire suite of items here just to neutralize one character. You're going to be looking to build maybe 2, maybe 3 if they fit into your build. And you want to look at the rest of the game. You're not just fighting Shiv. You're fighting Shiv plus 5 other heroes. So if you're going to build silence glyph, you want to build this in a game where you're fighting maybe a Shiv and also a Lady Geist, or maybe a Viscus or a Yamato. So heroes that you can use this on to neutralize their ultimates. That's going to help you get a lot more value out of the silence glyph. And then conversely, you could go for the metal skin in games where you're fighting against gun heavy heroes. So if you're playing against Wraith, or if you're playing against Haze, or maybe against Infernus, then you go for the metal skin instead of the silence glyph. All right, so those are, you just kind of want to think about that. You want to fit these items into your build in the way that makes sense, and you want to look at maybe getting 2, maybe 3. You can go for the healing reduction. You can look and see if somebody else on your team is going healing reduction. So if you're in lane with Infernus, Infernus has healing reduction built into his kit, maybe you can skip on the decay. So just kind of look and, base what you're building here on the opponent's team. You don't just want to take this guide and just build all of these items. You want to build the items based on what you're fighting against. All right, guys, this is the part of the video you probably don't want to hear, but this is how you're going to fight Shiv. This is how you're going to beat him, is learning how to punch parry.
Nice try.
Okay, so come into the sandbox, come fight the punch parry dummy, and just practice punch parrying until you get the hang of this. And this actually just recently got buffed, so the parry window lasts a little bit longer and the cooldown is faster. So it's kind of an indirect nerf to Shiv and Abrams, is it's easier to punch parry now. What you want to do to practice this though, to drill this, is don't look at the dummy. Okay, don't look at him. Use the sound cue. You want to wait until you hear that noise and then get to where you're pushing the punch parry button on reflex as soon as you hear that charge up noise. You want to come in here and practice this until you're hearing this noise in your nightmares. You're waking up in the middle of the night because you can't find the punch parry key. Okay, this is how you're going to beat Shiv. He's going to try to dash through you. He's going to try to turn around, and he's going to try to punch you. And if you get the parry on him, that's going to knock him down, do a ton of damage to him while he's on the ground. And with your own heavy melee. This is the real secret to beating Shiv, and this is just useful for the game in general. This is going to help you elevate your game because every character is going to look to punch you. It's not just Shiv. Anytime somebody gets close to you, they're going to be looking to hit you with a melee. So turn up your volume in your settings, come in here, look away from the dummy, and practice just doing this reflexively off of that sound cue. That's going to help you in all of your fights against Shiv. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate you sitting down to watch it. I hope you learned something about how to fight Shiv. If you don't mind, it would do me a big favor if you'd hit the like button and maybe subscribe if you learned something today. This is a new channel, so any support that you can give me there is greatly appreciated from my end. And if you have any techniques that you use to fight Shiv that I maybe didn't cover, throw it in the comments. You know, everybody's here to learn, so that would be greatly appreciated as well. And if you want to learn about more items, you can click the linked video that's showing on the screen now, where I will cover some sleeper items that I think are overpowered in Deadlock. Once again, I'm Vando, this is Deadlock School, and thanks for watching.